Hello lovely people, welcome to the Geek Cupboard, I'm Penge, and welcome to day 22 of the Geek Cupboard's Fes-tea-ve Advent Countdown 2022, which does mean that we only have 3 lovely teas left to try, but fingers crossed, let's hope they're really good ones. Let's hope that we finish on a bit of a high. So here we go, let's open up the lovely Advent calendar and try to find gigantic tea door number 22. Now there aren't that many doors left, like that whole bit there. All of that kind of panel is complete. There are no teas left in that bit. There's 23 just there. So 22. 22 is all the way in that corner there. Okay, right. So 22. If I can just try to bring that under the camera a bit. Okay. The little goal thing very comically says, sweat it out. And then it's got a gym bag and some sort of, gym shoes or running shoes or whatever. Now, that's one thing that I don't really do, Advent calendar. I don't do the gym. My exercise is looking after the children, running around after them and playing and, being a horse occasionally. That sort of happens. That's kind of my exercise. I did used to walk to work, but then they moved where I work, so I have to drive now. So I did used to get a little bit of exercise when I walked into work as well. But yeah, I don't really do gyms. It's not really a thing I do. I don't mind going for a swim. I don't mind swimming, but I mean, that says sweat it out. I don't really think when you're swimming, do you sweat? I suppose you would, but it would just go immediately into the water, which is a bit grim. But yeah, I don't really do gyms, Advent calendar. What I'll do is I'll just go and stand in a very hot room for a short while and get mildly sweaty, and that will suffice, I think. That's what we're going to have to do, because I just don't do a gym, and I don't really do... I mean, it's really bad. It's really bad. I don't do sort of what people would classify as proper, in air quotes, exercise. Like I don't go out for a jog or anything like that. Occasionally in the summer I do go out on my bike, very rarely, but that's kind of it. That's kind of it really, which is bad. I know I should go and do some more stuff, but there's many other things that I need to get done as well. So, okay, sorry Advent calendar. I might not be able to sweat it out in the way that you think I might be able to, but okay, never mind. We're just going to gloss over that. Let's open the door. Let's see what lovely tea we have. It's in a very exciting, vibrant yellow bag, lovely Geek Cupboard corporate colour. Kiss the future hello, the past won't be jealous. Okay, it's not got anything to do with tea, but right, I quite like it. And it's a flavoured black tea in a bag. What do we have today? Today we have New York breakfast. Okay, intriguing. So we've had a few breakfast teas, but now we have a New York breakfast. It is quite hard to read the white writing on the yellow background. A full-bodied black tea boasting the taste of hot pancakes, a brew inspired by a perfect New York moment. Warm up the morning or sweeten your afternoon and be whisked away to the city that never sleeps. Okay, so it's going to have a sort of a pancakey taste. And it does say, actually, hang on. Damn it, so how should we serve this? Perfect on its own or with a dash of milk. I might have it with a dash of milk. Because, it's a breakfast sort of tea, a little bit of milk with that. But yeah, the ingredients does say black tea and then cinnamon and vanilla. So I'm expecting quite a nice sort of cinnamony, possibly even a little bit Christmassy kind of flavouring to this. Okay, so here we go. We know what tea we're going to be getting, and to make it, we need to go to the kettle. And here we are with our lovely freshly brewed cup of New York breakfast tea, and I did add a little teeny tiny bit of milk to this as per the recommendations on the tea packet, so it does look like this now. It looks like a regular cup of tea, as I would describe it. It was a very, very dark black tea before the milk went in. It was very dark indeed, but now it looks like, a regular cup of tea with some milk in it. That's how I would normally have my tea. Now this does smell very good. If I smell this tea, you can smell cinnamon. And you can smell vanilla, but also there's kind of almost a toasty sort of a smell to it. There's a little bit of a sort of, not burned to such, but it just smells a bit toasty. It does smell like a stack of pancakes. Like if you have pancakes and they had the nice syrupy stuff on, it smells like that. It's got a lovely kind of sort of cinnamony smell to it, a bit of vanilla, and it smells a bit sweet, but also a little bit, the only way I can describe it is toasty. It's an odd smell that comes out of some tea. You don't expect tea to smell of toast, but it does. That actually works quite well. So here we go. It smells really good. It smells very nice. So I'm going to have a taste of this. I have high hopes for this one. Don't let us down, tea. Okay. That is not as cinnamony as I thought it might be, but it's still a little bit cinnamony. And then it's got a bit of vanilla, so you can taste the vanilla. And yeah, it does taste a bit pancakey as well. That works. it promised to taste of pancakes, and it does taste of pancakes. That's quite interesting. I quite like that. Yeah, hang on. Let's go for taste 2. Yeah, the initial kind of, when you drink this, you get the kind of, there's a cinnamony kind of flavour to it and a bit of vanilla. And then right at the back of your, palate again, is that the right word? There is that kind of a slightly sort of toasty, sort of, yeah, potentially a bit sort of not burnt, that's the wrong flavour. I can't quite figure out how to describe it, but that kind of sort of toasted taste to it right at the back of your mouth. That's really nice. I like this. I'm very impressed. I kind of thought this would crash and burn a bit like the other one we had a few days ago, the, whatever it was. What was it? Sticky Toffee Pudding one, or whatever it was called. But, yeah, that's really nice. I like this. Yeah, I like that. That's a very interesting tea. I do like that. Yeah, it's got a lovely, it's quite balanced. Nothing is too strong. I'm not sort of sipping that and thinking, oh, crikey, this is really cinnamony, or this is a bit vanilla-y, or whatever. The flavours all work quite well. It's quite a well-balanced tea. I quite like that. That's really good. Okay, right, this gets the official thumbs up, thumbs aloft. That's very good. Okay, so the tea is good. I like the tea. It's a lovely, well-rounded, kind of well-balanced tea with some lovely flavours. So let's go over to today's question, which comes from Bracan Spear. Hopefully I've pronounced that correctly. So yeah, Bracan Spear, I think is how you might pronounce that. And they ask, I know you are normally quite upbeat about the games you play, but have you ever been disappointed in any games? And that's a very good question. So yes, I do try to be upbeat when I'm playing games, because we are playing games to have fun. That's normally why you are playing a game, to have a bit of fun with it. And it does seem a bit, there's plenty of YouTubers out there who are critical of games, and that's okay. You can be critical of things because, people are paying money for it, and if it's not very good, then yes, you can be critical of such things. But I kind of try to be upbeat because, in a way, if somebody's doing a review, of something, then you might think, okay, is that a game I'd like to play? And they do a balanced review, then that's okay. So you could, there could be negative in that review, but they're doing it in an objective way. There's quite a lot of YouTubers who are just straight up, fury, just anger and rage, and they're very critical of a thing in, a very sort of unjustified, sort of reasonable way, I would say. There's quite a lot of that. There's a lot of sort of, angry videos about people just, not liking certain things, and they pick out all the bad points, and they ignore the good points, and it's not very well sort of balanced. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not really a big fan of that. So I do try to be upbeat as best I can about games. Sometimes there are aspects of games which aren't particularly great. If something breaks, or something goes wrong, or if there's something a little bit weird, then, it's kind of, or if it interrupts the gameplay or whatever, it can be a little bit sort of tricky to go, well, that was brilliant. I'm glad the game crashed, but you kind of have to look on the bright side. So, there's plenty of people out there that are very critical of games, perhaps excessively so, but I kind of think, what, we're playing a game, we're playing it for fun, let's just have a laugh. Instead of looking on the negative side, let's look on the bright side. Always look on the bright side of life. So I do try to be upbeat when I play games, and it's more fun that way. I think if I were to play games and I were to be really sort of critical of them, and I was picking out all the worst bits and, going, oh, I don't like this, or this is terrible, this is rubbish, this is awful, oh, why have they done that, they shouldn't have done that, then I kind of feel like the video would be really negative, and it will bring people down and make people all sorts of, maybe make people angry about it or whatever. And I don't want to do that. That's not what the Geek Cupboard is about. The Geek Cupboard is just, about fun and being silly and, sort of sitting back and, taking the weight off your feet or whatever, and just, watching a video about a game, and silly stuff happens, and it's all light-hearted and fun and all that kind of stuff. So, I do try to be upbeat as best I can. So the only thing is about that there are a few games that I have been disappointed by, and there was one game that made me possibly close to becoming a little bit angry, but we'll come to that at the end. So there's been, most games I play, I kind of think, it's okay, and I don't really like to be too critical of games, because people have worked on these, and we play a lot of indie games in the Geek Cupboard, and sometimes they're, sort of very small teams of people. They're sort of, teams of maybe 1 or 2, and it seems a little bit mean to just sort of go, I don't like this game. And one person development team could have made that, and that's they worked really hard on it. They made this game. I wouldn't know how to make a game. I wouldn't have a clue how to make a game. So I'm a little bit impressed as to anybody that makes a game. So, I do try and keep it nice. But yeah, there are a few that I have been a bit disappointed by. So I think more recently, I would say YouTuber's Life 2. That was very, very disappointing compared to the original, which was YouTuber's Life Omega. And I quite enjoyed that. I liked YouTuber's Life Omega. It was kind of a little bit silly, a little bit laid back, and it was all, casual, had some very funny kind of game titles in it. And, it was all about your journey to becoming a YouTube star. And that was okay. It was fun. You started off in a little kind of, your room at your mum's place, whatever. And then you went up and you bought an apartment and then a house and a bigger house and a space mansion and all that kind of stuff. And you bought better equipment and you made friends. And that was fine. That was okay. I quite liked that. And then YouTuber's Life 2 was just a bit weird. It moved away from the whole sort of YouTube-y side of things and making the videos and more into this kind of really forced kind of social experiment almost. To go out and talk to people. And it was like, right, you need to go out and talk to that person. There was some really kind of shoehorned in quests, and then there's a really weird plot, and it was all very odd, and it didn't really sort of work. And as well in the day, and in the game day in YouTuber's Life 2, you did some, YouTubing, for example. So you recorded a video, and then you edited the video, and then you kind of published it, and then 3/4 of the day are gone. And then you kind of had to run around and try and do some other stuff. And it just felt a big rush. Everything felt really rushed. It was like, right, now I've got to go and do that. Or if you then decided to not do a video the next day, of course you wouldn't get the subscribers, you wouldn't get the money coming in, all that kind of stuff, because you were doing other stuff around the big town. I mean, it looked good. Don't get me wrong, it did look very good. Visually, it was very impressive. It looked great, all the different kind of town bits. There was a beach and all the different characters looked really good. But it just didn't play well. I found it really kind of difficult to get into. I didn't really feel like I was part of anything. It didn't feel like it was my story. It just felt like I was wandering about, just, chatting to people and doing really weird quests and occasionally doing a bit of a YouTube-y thing. And I didn't really like that. I didn't like that. And I had quite high hopes for that, because YouTuber's Life Omega, the series, and particularly the first video, is one of the big videos on the channel. It's one of the big Geek Cupboard videos. So I thought, this will be quite good. YouTuber's Life 2. But no, it did not. It didn't strike a good chord with me. It just wasn't very good. So that was a bit of a shame. I was a bit disappointed by that. And then another game that I was disappointed about, and this might be a bit controversial. It might be a controversial one. Evil Genius 2. I played that and I didn't really like it. I thought it was really weirdly paced and it felt a bit repetitive and it didn't sort of work properly. I mean, maybe because I didn't play it very well or whatever, but I just didn't enjoy it. I did not get on with it at all. I found it really kind of fiddly to play, and then there were lots of the sort of invasion type things where the heroes kept coming in and getting in the way, and you couldn't do what you wanted to do, and I just found it really sort of all over the place. It didn't flow very well, I didn't think. I mean, maybe again it was because I was playing it badly. I don't know, but I did all the tutorial stuff and I went through it all, but I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it at all. And I looked at all the trailers and things, look, do you know what? That could be quite fun. I like the look of that. It looks very silly. But yeah, it just fell a bit flat. Everything felt a little bit sort of forced with it almost. It just felt a little bit kind of I mean, I don't say this very often, but it was a bit meh. It was, I kind of had high hopes for it, thinking, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be brilliant. Going to have this kind of crazy lair and there's going to be all sorts of stuff going on. And then no, it just felt a bit sort of fiddly and a little bit kind of lackluster, I think. But yes, that was a bit of a shame. That was a little bit of a shame. But I mean, they're the two games I've been disappointed by. We've played many games in the Geek Cupboard, and some have been sort of not that good. But I don't think I was disappointed by them. There's a difference between playing a game that isn't that good, but still having fun with it, as opposed to being disappointed by a game, I would say. So yeah, I mean, there's many games we've played where you kind of go, well, that was alright. It was an okay game for a bit. We played it, we had a laugh, that was great. But it's not a good game, but I enjoyed the hour we spent playing it or whatever. So yeah, there's probably a few of those around. I mean, we've played many games in the Geek Cupboard, many hundreds and hundreds of different games. So there's probably quite a few of those. But again, not disappointed in those, because we might have had fun playing them. So yeah, I won't say I'm disappointed with them. But there was a game which we played back in spring 2018, which was quite frankly awful. And it made me a little bit angry, nearly. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it was a bit... Well, I did 2 videos for it, incredibly enough. Because I kind of thought, do you know what? I'm going to come back to this and hope that, it gets better the second time round, when we come back to it. It didn't. So the game was called Metropolis. And, oh, dearie me. Oh, dear, Metropolis, you were not good. So the idea was that it was like a sort of a city management game, but you're sort of more on a council, I think it was. So the city was already there. It was built. There was a big city, and it was like in a grid, and you sort of had a top-down view of it. And you could sort of look around, and there were sort of fancy home areas, and there were sort of shops and parks and swimming pools and roads and train stations, all that kind of stuff. And there were different things that would connect them up together, and different roads, and different districts and all that. And that was okay. And then you could choose policies. So you could, go in and change policies, and you could do some building and all that kind of stuff. So you go, okay, over here, look, this area, they're complaining about being a bit deprived. Okay, well, let's put in something to encourage growth over there. Let's put in, a leisure centre or a big shop or something to get people over to that part of town and to make it a bit more sort of, give it more pizzazz or whatever. And on the face of it, that sounds okay. It says, you can upgrade your roads, and you can do this, and you can do that, and you can do many exciting things. And I thought, okay, this is fine. So you go into it, and it goes, okay, right. So, time is ticking by. You start off at whatever time it was, lunchtime, 12 o'clock, shall we say. And we had a look around. It's been, okay, so I can't remember exactly what we did now. It's been 4 and a bit years. So, but whatever we did, we had a look around. And I was like, okay, well, maybe we'll build some new homes over there, because new homes is more people moving in, and that means more people that can, go to work, and we generate a little bit more tax and all that kind of stuff. That'll be helpful. So went, okay, so build, some medium density apartments or whatever just there. And then that was quite a chunk of our money. And then I said, okay, I'll do a policy thing possibly. So I looked at that, and then so I sat there and I was like, okay, it's now, 2:30 in the afternoon or whatever. 2.5 hours have passed. You're on the maximum speed. And it's okay. So now what happens? Just sort of waiting. Think anything? Anything going to happen? Anything at all? Hello? And is there anything happening here? And it turns out that you had to run through the entire day to then make something happen at the end. So you kind of got your summary at the end of the day. But it went really slowly and nothing else happened. So you couldn't do anything else in between that time. So you could do all the things you wanted to do in a matter of seconds, probably. And then you had to wait for the entire day to go round again. So you had to sit and wait for hours and hours, just nothing happening, because you couldn't do anything, because you had no money, because you spent it on a building, and you'd done your policy changes or whatever. And then you had to kind of just wait. And it was just ridiculous. It was a bit, hang on, why is this real time? Why isn't this turn-based? So you go, okay, turn 1, I've got that much money, I'm going to spend it and change a thing. Okay, click. Turn 2, what happened to the town? Like, what happened? Did that area get better? Did the people like that? Did something happen over here? Was there a fire, a disaster? Did something good happen? Is there a party? No, you had to sit and wait through many hours of completely and utterly nothing happened. And the city didn't change or grow in that time. Nothing happened. It was fixed. It was like a fixed thing. It said, that's the city as it is. Come back tomorrow and we'll see how it changed from the things you did. And then you had to sit and wait. It was unfathomably, incomprehensibly bad game design. And I don't know how anyone thought that was good. Surely people play tested it. I think I can't remember if I mused upon this in the second video, because I came back to it thinking, come on, maybe I've done something wrong. Maybe it's just, when we get to the second day, time will tick on quicker or whatever. It didn't. It didn't get any better the second time round. But how on earth did somebody play that and think, yes, that's the thing. That's what I want to happen? I don't know. It was really bad, and I got a bit grumpy with it, shall we say. Possibly the grumpiest I've got on the channel, maybe. It was just very silly. It was just a bit, who wrote this off? Who sort of signed this off and said, yep, absolutely, I approve of this. This is the best way to play this game. 30 seconds of doing something, and then, I don't know, whatever, half an hour of completely nothing happening until you then get to spend another 30 seconds doing something to then leave it another half an hour of utterly nothing happening. So yeah, that game was, I would say, the most disappointing that we played on the entire channel, because it was so bad. It was just so bad. And I'm sorry sorry Metropolis designer people, because you made a game, and I'm sure you thought you were doing the right thing, but that choice there to make it real time with nothing happening was very much not the right choice. It was a bad choice, shall we say. So yeah, that game I didn't enjoy. I didn't enjoy that at all. That game got me the closest to getting somewhat furious. But then yeah, YouTubers Alive 2 and Evil Genius 2. Also, I was a bit disappointed by too. So I mean, there's only 3 there. There are probably some, as we've said, that maybe weren't as good as other games. But again, as we sort of touched on earlier, I think we had fun with them. I think even if a game isn't very good, we try to have fun with it. But there are limits. Metropolis, I'm looking at you. There are some limits. So yeah, I think that's it. I mean, if you'll probably know the back catalogue better than me, because I've played many, many games and I've been to sleep many times since I played them. So some people out there might be going, well, hang on a minute. What about blah-de-blah game you played back in, January 2017 or whatever? There might be some other games that I played that weren't particularly good and that I was a bit disappointed by, but they're not so sticky in the mind. They don't stick in the brain, so I've kind of forgotten about those. But yeah, YouTubers Alive 2, Evil Genius 2, and the nightmare that was Metropolis, they're the ones that stick in the mind, I think, as the ones that I was most disappointed by. So there we go. Hopefully that answered the question. But I mean, yeah, we try to be upbeat most of the time because it's more fun. It's more fun and happy. Yay for upbeat shenanigans going on. Smiley, happy silliness. We're just playing a game. We're just playing a game, and that's what we're doing. We can just have some fun with it. There's no need to be all negative about it. It's a game at the end of the day. It's somebody mucking about and having fun. So yeah, I like the fact that we do try to do that. I think that's quite good. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question okay. And yeah, I think we can wrap things up. I've got my lovely tea, which is very good. I'm going a bit more now. Oh, I like that. I like that tea. Might get some more of this one. It's very good. So yeah, got lovely tea. Question is answered. I think we can wrap things up. So for now, thank you very much for joining me on day 22 of the Fes-tea-ve Advent Countdown 2022. And I'll see you next time. These people are eating the tables. They're just devouring the tables. They're so hungry. There's no atmosphere at all. Were you sat in the car park? Are you sure you came to the right place? Mein Knien stan in Brand. If you want to order meatballs made of snails, you need to be really certain about this.